about that in a minute.
Okay, trustees, this is a meeting for Sandwich Town Council. It is the quarterly meeting of the council as trustees of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. Item number 1 is apologies for absence received.
Apologies received from Councillor Pennington, who is unwell, Councillor Marie, who has a work commitment, and Councillor Gray.
Thank you very much for that. And item number 2 is declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interests from members in respect of business to be transacted on this agenda tonight. Do we have any? Councillor Franklin, no need to stand.
No, I wasn't going
Good.
to. Chairman.
Thank you.
You asked. Can we have a second next? The age concern, I'm a trustee of age concern.
Thank you very much for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, indeed, sorry.
Item
Councillor
7, I'm a volunteer for the Folk and Ale Festival.
Thank you. Councillor Morehouse.
Yes, similarly, item 7.
Is that folk now?
I'm a volunteer.
Councillor Morehouse is folk now.
Yes, I have been. I'll most likely be enabled in.
I'll make yourself plain now in case you discriminate.
Yeah.
Indeed, okay. Councillor Mallet. Councillor Mallet could be implicating himself into the situation in the future. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is minutes of the previous meeting, and to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council as trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund held on the 30th of October 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. And this is attachment number 1. Do I have any questions on these minutes? No. Could I have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes? So Councillor Ripley is proposing, Councillor Mrs Carter is seconding, and all those in favour of the minutes, please show. It's unanimous, thank you very much. And item number 4 is payment schedules, and 4A is to approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund payment schedule for November. Item 4B is to approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall payment schedule for November, and item 4C is to approve the Museum and Archives payment schedule for November. These are attachments 2A, 2B and 2C. Are there any queries on these items at all? None? Okay. Could I have a proposer and seconder for these payment schedules, please? Councillor Franklin is proposing and Councillor Ripley is seconding. And all those in favour, please show. It's unanimous there. Thank you very much. And item number 5 is finances and investments, 5A, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund statement of accounts as at 31st of October 23. 5B, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall statement of accounts as at 31st of October 23. 5C, to receive and approve the Sandwich Guildhall Museum statement of accounts as at 31st of October 23. And item 5D is to receive and approve the Quilter Cheviot Assets Management Monthly Investment Report as at 31st of October 2023. This is attachments 3A, 3B, 3C and 3D. Unless there's any queries or questions, I'm proposing taking these en bloc. Question.
Yes, I just had one comment regards the Quilter Cheviot assets. It's a general observation. I think we should, in the new year, look at the performance of this fund quite heavily in terms of making sure that we are getting the best value. I'm just slightly concerned that it continues to show a performance that I personally don't see as maximising the potential. So I could be wrong. So I'd much prefer we have a group conversation about this and think about our position in relation to the future use of that fund.
Indeed. Okay, then thank you very much for that. Councillor Anderson?
Yes, I would very strongly support Councillor Shuker's suggestion. I'm still really concerned about what looks to me like rather poor returns.
Thank you very much. Councillor Franklin?
Investments, comparatively, and I think we really do need to take a very careful look at them.
Yeah, I think what it is because you look at low risk, medium risk and high risk, and I think we looked at medium risk, and I think if you want to get a higher return, you're going to go to a high risk.
Yeah.
So
We
it's up
need
to you.
to look at that. We need to look at
That's what I was
those
saying. I think-
to see what their impact is.
I think we've always been pretty careful, and that's why we
Yes,
say.
but we need to
medium
look
risk.
at it.
Councillor Mrs Carter actually mentioned that at a previous meeting,
Yeah.
Councillor Franklin.
And also we've got an ethical policy, haven't we?
That's correct.
Quite a strong ethical policy.
Yeah.
So some of the high risk ones we won't invest in.
Yeah.
I think it would just be.
Councillor Tomlins,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I was just going to make the point that whether it's worth seeking, I know they came and spoke to us generally, but some more clarity about why they perceive this is the issues and what the options would be. So we're actually, we don't have the suggestions to come up with, but they actually, whether
Suggest
that's
to us.
looking elsewhere, but other investment funds as well, but just to get their perspective of, because I imagine that this is mirroring what's happening with other groups
Indeed,
of
it will be,
investors
of
and-
course.
yeah.
Organisations.
Because it's strange when interest rates are so high, it doesn't really tally, does it?
Doesn't.
Also, other organisations.
Councillor
seem to
Chuka
do
was
better.
next, sorry.
Just very quickly, it is a medium risk fund, so it's disappointing from when I look at it in terms of its current performance.
It's not
Obviously,
low risk.
yeah, exactly. But you do have to look at it over the long term, which is a factor. But I'm just saying that I think we just need to have a intelligent review ourselves and reflection that we're content picking up on Councillor Franklin's point about certain aspects of it drive the outcome. So it's just about that we're comfortable with what we're getting.
Indeed, okay. So I've proposed taking these 4 items on block. Do I have a seconder with those items, including the amendment of looking at the Quilter Cheviot account? Councillor Mrs Carter, I believe, was seconding. And all those in favour, please show. Thank you very much. Item number 6 is the Museum and Archive Committee membership. Further to the nominations of 8 councillors to join the Museum and Archive Committee, Councillor Mark Morehouse now seeks to join the committee. This is attachment number 4 and a decision is required. Earlier this evening I pointed out to Councillor Morehouse that this committee, for some unknown reason, I don't know why, starts at 4:30 in the afternoon. So we have 2 options here on the table. We have the recommendation to agree the nomination of Councillor Morehouse and confirm membership of the Museum and Archive Committee, or obviously we have the option to include him if we move the timing. Councillor Morehouse.
I made the request as I've been a museum volunteer for the past 18 months. However, if it was to unbalance the current arrangements, I'm quite happy to withdraw the. I promise you faithfully there'll be no historics on social media. No petitions or.
Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I would just like to know why this committee meets at 4:30 in the afternoon. Is it something to do with the museum coordinator not being able to work beyond 5 o'clock?
We can rectify that this evening,
It's not
Councillor.
the only committee that meets in the afternoon. I mean, our medics one meets in the afternoon, doesn't it? But the thing is, it's all to do with the staff. I mean, the staff comes in. What does she do? Does she go at 5 o'clock? Does she go all the way back to Dover and then come back? Or does she stay here, have a meeting at 4:30 and then goes home after the meeting? I think we've got to look after our staff. I think it'd be unreasonable to expect her to suddenly have a break in her day and then come back again.
It's up
As I
to,
say, if it's not practical.
it's up to this committee. If you wanted to, we could actually review the start time of this committee if you wanted to.
No, it's necessary.
Councillor
I
Black.
want to make a point that you need to look at the staff members' contracting in private. and it'd be unreasonable to do a split shift. That I agree with. But depending on what the contract says, it may be possible to have 1 day a month, late start and late finish. That's the employment approach,
That's great.
which would address a number of issues.
So could I suggest that maybe we return to this and give an opportunity to ask Millie what her situation is without any pressure in terms of her having to accommodate a later start. If it fits her working pattern that 4:30 is the best, then that's what we stick with, which I think that's what Councillor Morehouse is happy with as well.
Right. So
So what I'm saying
your
is we should
proposal
defer
is-
the decision to the next meeting. My proposal is defer the decision to the next meeting to give time for
an answer.
yeah,
Consultation.
consultation, not an answer, you're right.
But my
Councillor
question is,
Mrs.
because
Carr.
the museum closed at 4,
Yeah.
so that's why the staff sort of
Yeah.
finishing at 4 and then
Yeah.
sort of.
Right, okay. Right, okay. So the proposal is to defer this matter until we have further information from the museum coordinator,
Yeah.
and then we can consider if it is put to a later time. Then obviously Councillor Morehouse can consider if he wishes to join the committee. So all those in favour of deferring this item? Thank you.
I shouldn't really vote on this, should I?
No. Thank you very much. Okay, and then item number 7 is grant applications. Members are to receive and consider a report from the RFO and 4 grant applications for considerations by the trustees. These are attachments 5A, 5B, 5C and 5D. And this we need a decision on. So this is to ask the trustees to consider 4 grants received with requests from funding from Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. Grant details are as they are before you, which comes to a total of £14,260. The budget for grants this year is currently overspent already by £1,803 and 2p. Which will bring a total of £21,803 and 2p that has been granted already in this fiscal year. So the trustees are asked to consider these 4 grant applications and make a decision on them. So could I have any recommendations or qualifications? I think Councillor Chuka's hand went up first, actually.
Yes, so I'll just make a couple of comments. It's a very difficult situation I think we find ourselves in. I think you've mentioned some of the key facts, but I'd also like to point out that in this financial year, only £400 has been a new request, 2 separate requests and approvals in this year. So if you take 20,000 and only £400 is a new commitment, that just illustrates the difficult position we're in.
Very much.
We also are proposing a reduction in the monies for next year.
We are.
From 20 down to 10.
That's correct.
We also have a drawdown this year, which let's not fudge it. When we say drawdown, a shrinking of the capital of the fund of potentially up to 90k this year. It could be a lot less, but that's the forecast range up to 90. We also have a forecast drawdown for next year of around circa 70k. All of those add up to a very difficult situation. When I look at the individual requests, there are merits in most of them, some greater than others, some less so. There's only one I would strongly object to, but the problem is as soon as we start looking at individual requests, then you get into a full debate about why can't we honour all of them, why can't we start parking commitments for next year, which therefore means we create the problem ourselves rather than the problem we've inherited.
That's right.
So I'll leave it there, and I don't want to go down into the individual requests. There is only one that I would object to strongly.
Indeed.
But the others have weaknesses, that would be challenged in terms of delving into them deep.
Finances. And did you have a proposal at all for what we should do with these? Or are you not that brave?
Well, my I have to be fair in terms of
Based on what
actually
you've said.
all and we sorry, why did I stand up? We had Sam and Jim Bloom here, who equally would have put in a request. They haven't, because they thought we weren't going to be able to take them until next year. My proposal would be that we move forward those that are for next year to March, because we need to have a serious consideration about the STBF fund for next year and how we are going to manage it, rather than being driven by previous decisions. That would be my proposal, is that we move forward all those for next year to review in March, which leaves just one to discuss in detail today.
Indeed. Would anybody like to second that proposal?
Just can I make a comment?
Yeah, indeed, you may.
No,
Sit down.
sorry, with regard to moving forward to March, certainly one of these needs to have an idea of what sort of funding they're going to get, so that they can plan ahead.
Yeah,
because
it's a reasonable request.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm, certainly from my point of view, I'm hit by that as well from what I'll be asking for next month.
What I would personally respond to, Mayor, on that is that if we do agree a budget of 10,000 for next year, if we do, then some of those requests, if we gave an indication now, a high percentage would be already consumed for next year. So I think it's dangerous, because there are other bids that will come through that will be just as legitimate. We need to look at them in the round, in my opinion.
I don't think we can make a definitive decision on this. We've got a proposal to defer it, so I think it'd be incorrect to actually ask which ones we would favour at this stage. So, Councillor Wiles?
Yeah, I think some of us have been saying for some time that we need to...
Councillor Mrs Carter, could you? Councillor Wiles is speaking.
I think some of us have been saying for some time that we urgently need to review the criteria for applications. The budget this year is already spent. I mean, I don't think these should even come to this meeting, because the people should have been told, sorry, the budget's spent, full stop. So we need to manage those expectations. But I think we need to review the criteria urgently and make sure that we're dealing with bona fide organisations, that we know what their constitutional status is, we know what their grants, their accounts look like, etc. And I think we also need people to come to this meeting so that we can question them if they're seeking money from us.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, I would.
So, Councillor Green first.
Could I just say, you say that the budget is overspent, but I think it's important that people understand that 60% of the budget was committed by the previous town council, and we've had to honour £12,000 out of the £20,000 budget that we've had for this year, and so it's not overspent because of the negligence or poor administration by this council.
And Councillor Morehouse.
As you know, Mr Mayor, traditionally any organisation, particularly in terms of events, requesting money from the Tollbridge Fund, has to have an STC representative, an STBF representative on that committee. That seems to have fallen by the wayside in recent times.
Indeed.
That is something
I do. That's a very valid point. That's a very valid point. Thank you for that, Councillor Morehouse. So did you have anything to say, Mrs Carter? Councillor Mrs Carter? You didn't have anything. Okay. Right. So we've all had a question each. So there's a proposal on the table from Councillor Chuka. Did you have a seconder for your proposal, Councillor Chuka?
Remind us of the proposal.
For the requests that are seeking money for the next financial year, that we do that in March, which should be the starting process for the next year in any case, in my opinion. So it's to roll forward, I think, 3 of the 4 to March.
Indeed.
Well, I would like to ask, what are we going to do between now and March
No.
that will clarify things
Yeah.
in March?
So there's
Yeah, so that everybody doesn't talk. What's actually going to happen is the finance officer has been instructed to inform any new applicants that come in with applications that what the situation is, and that there will be no review of any applications until March next year. And so that is what we will do. We will say we'll be
That's all.
reviewing
We
them.
wouldn't instigate a review of the criteria and
Oh, I see. Yeah, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, so yeah, I've already spoken with the town clerk, and she said she wanted to undertake a review, a full review, but she wanted time to get it right.
Yeah.
And this, I reported back to the town clerk because she wasn't at the finance committee meeting, and I reported back to her and I told her what happened. I believe the finance officer did as well, and the town clerk said, that is brilliant news because that gives me the time to undertake the review. So the town clerk is preparing to undertake a review of the grants thing, but she doesn't want to be pushed into doing it in X number of weeks. She wants to do benchmarking, checking with other councils, how it's all done, what information do we need, finance information, equality information, etc. like that. So that is what will go forward. So the gatekeeper will be the finance officer, and so as any applications come in, the finance officer will tell the applicants what is taking place.
Okay, can I just supplementary? So I don't think it's very long between now and March. This is actually really quite a big job, and I just wonder whether March is long enough. And are we talking beginning March, end March? What?
The town clerk said it would be long enough for her. So, Councillor Morehouse, you had a supplementary. Have to be the last one.
Councillor Schuper's proposal will incorporate Councillor Wiles's addition on the review.
Are you happy to do that, Councillor Chuka?
I think it must. So we need to take the opportunity to do what we need to do in that period. So that needs to include looking at the criteria. I think actually it's quite robust and it's about the application, but that needs to be tested. So review the criteria. We'll also set the preset by March, so we'll know how much ignore that. We'll have set the budget for the STBF by March, so we'll know what we are actually able to award next year. That's, we're in the dark at the moment.
Indeed.
We start coming up with things.
That's correct. So, briefly,
I think it's really important that we share that as an information piece with social media and the website. Because that could be a real hot potato on social media, and I think it's really rather be on the back foot that we actually get something explaining at this point what the issues are.
Indeed.
To people, so that
That's
they
a
know
very,
where we're
very
going.
valid point, actually. Yeah, indeed. Did you get a note of that point so that it explains the decisions that we've taken? Did you have a seconder, Councillor Chuka? All right, I'll get it. Councillor Breen, and all those in favour? And you've got one abstention there from Councillor Mallet. Okay, thank you very much. And then item number 8 is the STBF financial statements.
Sorry, that leaves one request, which is from Age Concern, which is in this year.
So that can, sir.
There is one request for funding, which is the Age Concern request,
Sure.
and that's for December of this year. So we should, in my opinion, talk about that and make a decision specifically for that request.
Right, we've just deferred.
No, I said defer all those that have funding that falls in the next year, a request for money next year.
Right, I see. Did you get that down actually?
That was my proposal.
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that.
That was my proposal.
We've already
Yeah,
established that there's no
I
money.
endorse
So
what Councillor Chuka said.
So you still want to, so sorry, we've voted on it now, but you still want to spend.
No. My proposal was for all those requests that we currently have where funding is being sought to be spent in 24-25, we defer those to March. That's 3 out of the 4. That leaves one request, which is from Age Concern, which is for this December. So we may end up in the same place, picking up on Councillor Tomlin's point, but we need to look at that separately because they're asking for funding now for December.
Right. Okay, and when are you proposing to look
I'm
at
not
that?
proposing anything, I'm just saying we need to look at that now and see what people think.
Can I talk for this?
Oh, yeah, indeed,
application?
Councillor Carter.
I think, because I personally bought the ticket to come to the Christmas dinner, if everybody buy tickets cost £15.50,
Yeah.
and they sold over at least 200 tickets. And I look at their cash at the bank, 331,894. They're not short of money. So I don't think we should, at this instance, grant any money to them at this stage, since the Sandwich Town Council hasn't really got any money. That's
Okay,
my
so that's your
yeah.
proposal, yeah. So, have we got any other opinions on this, Councillor Anderson?
Yes, I would very strongly support what Councillor Carter has just said. It is rather surprising that a very well-off charity should be applying for money from a charity that isn't well-off.
Yeah.
And
Look at
it doesn't seem to make any sense at all. And also that they're selling these tickets, so in fact their expenditure will be very limited. So I really can't see the merits of this case at all.
Okay. So was that a proposal, Mrs. Carter,
Yes.
that you made? Okay. Were you going to second that proposal, Councillor Anderson?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, could I just say, it's my understanding that they're holding the Christmas party in this building.
Yes, they are.
And I don't know if we are being paid for what we're charging for the building for that occasion.
The normal practice would be to give them the community discount,
Yeah.
but yes, they would be
Paying
invoiced for that.
They'll
Yeah.
be invoiced, yeah.
Discounted.
But they get the discount as a community
Okay,
group.
so how much do they pay for it, do you know?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, I'm afraid.
But I think we need to decide this. We've got a proposal and a seconder on the table. All those in favour of this proposal? Okay, and any abstaining? One abstention from Councillor Franklin, thank you. Okay, so that's been decided. Thank you very much, councillors. And item number 8, the STBF financial statements and letter of representation. Trustees are asked to consider a report from the RFO with an update on an amendment made in an STBF financial statements for 2023-24, and to ask that the trustees approve and sign the letter of representation. And this is attachment number 6. Recommendations are that trustees are asked to note the amendments made to the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2023, and the trustee is asked to read and approve the letter of representation from McCabe, Ford and Williams. So this is really historic because it's for the financial year ended 31st March 2023, but this does have to be addressed, and we do have to note this and approve the letter of representation if that's agreed by the trustees. I would propose that this is noted and that the letter is approved, although it's historic to the majority of councillors in this chamber. This has to be undertaken by law, so unfortunately it's something we need to do legally. So I'm prepared to propose that from the chair. Councillor Franklin, are you seconding that? So all those in favour of this letter of representation on the historic accounts, please show, or abstain or vote against. So that's 8, 4, 1, 2, 5 abstentions. Okay. So that item is actually passed. Thank you very much for that. And item number 9 is date of next meeting. of the STBF trustees, which is Monday the 18th of December 2023. Thank you very much for your advice and recommendations this evening. And the next one, I have asked the town clerk to keep it to a very limited amount, as it will be the last one of the year. So please don't ask the town clerk to add any more to the agenda, or you could end up doing this on Christmas Day. Thank you.